So we're back at it again, and we're gonna start off with, um, we're gonna start off with some news, and the news we're gonna start off is that John Cena versus Logan Paul has continued to be teased for WrestleMania. A couple of days ago, I did cover it in a news video that Logan Paul said on his Impulsive podcast that he would love to face John Cena at WrestleMania. But of course, John Cena then took to Instagram and commented about how much he would love to fight Stone Cold Steve Austin at WrestleMania. So that, in my opinion, is dropping some teases for the big event set to be held in Hollywood this year or next year. And it's just making that event seem all the more interesting with the possibility of either Logan Paul and John Cena going against each other or Steve Austin and John Cena going against each other. But we'll talk more about Steve Austin in the next news video. I think Logan Paul against a part-timer would be good because Logan Paul is in fact a part-timer. So him going against somebody who is not technically an active wrestler would be all right. I know that you would want John Cena going against somebody who is, you would want maybe Theory or, somebody who's an active wrestler who could benefit from being in the ring with Cena on the grandest stage of them all. And I'm not saying that that shouldn't happen. I'm just saying that if it was Theory and Cena, if it was Logan Paul and John Cena, then the match would be quite possibly one of the highlights of WrestleMania weekend. Because it would be a banger of a match with those two in the ring. And it is completely understandable why Logan Paul would want to face John Cena, but also at this point has Logan hit the point where he can say, like, where he could pick who he wants to fight, almost. You know what I mean? Because does Logan have the type of reputation now as a member of the WWE roster where he can say, I want to fight this person, and it would be where if he did fight that person, he'd deliver. You know what I mean? I don't know, but what I do know is that Logan does want to fight John Cena at WrestleMania, and I think I would be looking forward to that match if that match did take place. And a couple of days ago, or earlier this week, I posted a video showing off a bit of what took place between Bray Wyatt and LA Knight on SmackDown last week. And now we got to follow up this week with Bray and LA Knight, where Bray and LA Knight are officially feuding, I would say. And you're setting up a little bit more of Bray being physical and showing that aspect of his character, because LA Knight, for those who may have missed it, LA Knight went to the ring to confront Bray Wyatt, or was asked to the ring by Bray, and humored him, and then slapped him twice before leaving, and then looking to leave the arena before being confronted by Uncle Howdy. And then later on in the broadcast, LA Knight was found in the back, covered in furniture, beaten down, clearly attacked by Uncle Howdy, which again brings up the question of what's going to happen next. I think what they should do is let the storyline simmer for a bit, let the feud simmer for a bit. And I'm not saying keep up with it. I'm saying lean on Bray's mind games as opposed to lean on confrontation after confrontation, because people will get tired of seeing this, seeing confrontations week after week and not seeing, especially if they're together, and not seeing them attack each other, and not seeing them get physical or compete in a match. Because I don't think, in my opinion, that they need to go every week. I don't think they need to. Like, Bray's a unique enough character that you can have Bray Wyatt. You can have Bray Wyatt keep a feud going without him competing every week against his opponent. You don't need to have that happen. You could have Bray do his business without competing and play mind games with the guy to keep the feud going. I'm not saying you have to wait till Royal Rumble. I'm not saying that you have to wait till a big event. I'm just saying that you don't need to do a match right now in the month of November between Bray and LA Knight. It could wait until December. It could wait till the first of the year, which I think the first of the year is when they should do it, because it'd be a nice draw for the first SmackDown of 2023, waiting to see Bray Wyatt compete for the very first time. Speaking of competing for the very first time, Kevin Owens is back. Over the last week or so, we've talked about Kevin Owens possibly being injured after he tweaked his knee at a house show, but it is pretty obvious at this point that Mr. Owens is at least going to be okay to compete on Saturday night, November 26th, in War Games, because he is the fifth man for the babyface side, joining Sheamus, Drew, and the Brawling Brutes. He joined the team yesterday with a stunner on Roman Reigns, much to the chagrin of Sami Zayn, and much to the delight of the fans in attendance. Big Kev has a history with the Bloodline. Big Kev has a history with Sami. Big Kev has a history with most of the people in the match. And it's good to see Big Kev being in a prominent position on a pay-per-view, as Kevin is one of the only people in WWE that actually Kevin is one of the only people in WWE that actually has experience in War Games from NXT. And I think him and Pete Dunne are the only ones in the actual War Games match this year that have experience in War Games down in NXT from the days when it was a part of the NXT brand. As far as the other news, speaking of War Games, Beth Phoenix or Candice LeRae are rumored to be the final members of the Team Belair for the other War Games match, because the other War Games match is not completed yet. So I assume this Monday night we will be finding out if it's going to be Candice LeRae or if it's going to be Beth Phoenix that take the final spot at War Games and join Bianca Belair, Mia Yim, Alexa Bliss, and Asuka against Bayley, Dakota Kai, Io Sky, Nikki Cross, and Rhea Ripley. Either way, it's going to be a good choice. I kind of would like to see Beth Phoenix against Rhea Ripley, because it would be two people that want to get revenge on Rhea Ripley. Actually, three, because Candice LeRae was taken out by Damage Control a few weeks ago. Speaking of taken out, if you look at the new cover for AEW Fight for the Fallen, somebody might be missing from the cover, and that somebody is CM Punk. CM Punk, it seems like CM Punk was replaced on the cover of the AEW video game by Kenny Omega. And ironically enough, I kind of think that should have been the cover in the first place, because Kenny was one of the main proponents for the video game in the first place. But it's a possibility with the change in cover that Punk is either discounted in the game and not going to be as featured, or is out of the game completely. If he is still under AEW contract and still technically employed by the company, I could see him just not being as prominently featured by AEW and maybe an unlockable in the game if possible or something to that effect because it seems like AEW's game is going to go the classic route. I'm not going to say they're not going to have DLC, but they're going to go the classic route of maybe having unlockables. I can see them doing that because of how much of a gamer Kenny and the Bucks are. But I think the cover fits better with Kenny being a prominently featured at front and center more than Punk is. It would be disappointing if Punk is out of the AEW video game, but also it would be understandable if Punk is out of the AEW video game. I just think that overall, Kenny Omega being front and center fits better than CM Punk does. But these have been my thoughts on wrestling. Let me know your thoughts down below. And you can also express your thoughts and let me know that you like this type of content by leaving a comment or leaving a like because any and all interactions with the video do help and are very much appreciated. Speaking of interactions, do not forget to ding dong that notification bell before you go to always know when a new video is up on the channel. And until next time, I will see you again soon.